A late-night diner. 3 engineers. One placemat sketch that would turn games into cinema and spark the AI era. This is the night NVIDIA is born. Neon hums over a late-night diner on El Camino Real. 3 engineers lean over a paper placemat, sketching boxes and arrows between coffee stains. It looks like a napkin plan. It is, in fact, a blueprint for the future of computing. The year is the early 1990s, and the PC is still a beige box. 3D graphics live mostly in arcades and million-dollar workstations. On this night, Jensen Huang, Chris Malachowsky, and Curtis Priem agree on a wild idea. Build a chip not just for drawing pixels, but for accelerating everything that tomorrow will need: games, design, science, maybe even intelligence itself. Their lives made them ready for this moment. Jensen Huang's story starts far from Silicon Valley. He's a kid who crosses oceans, lands in American classrooms where the accent in his voice is matched only by the ambition in his eyes. He spends time at a boarding school in rural Kentucky, where you learn grit the way you learn algebra, line by line. In college, he studies electrical engineering, then dives into chip work at places where the future comes in wafers: AMD, LSI Logic. Jensen watches the personal computer grow up. He notices a bottleneck. The CPU is brilliant, but it's lonely. If you can teach a second chip to do the heavy lifting, geometry, lighting, transformation, you could change everything people see on a screen. Chris Malachowsky brings a workstation mindset. At Sun Microsystems, he lives in the land of serious machines, graphics workstations used by designers, animators, and scientists. He knows what professional 3D needs: precision, pipelines, reliability under pressure. Chris is the kind of engineer who can walk from a whiteboard to a prototype like it's a single step. He also has a gift for team architecture, how to turn a room full of specialists into a single instrument. Curtis Priem is a pure architect in silicon. He thinks in signals and cycles. He's been the hand behind advanced graphics and system logic at big league companies, and he has that rare, slightly dangerous confidence of someone who can look at a complicated diagram and say, "We can do this cleaner." Curtis pushes for designs that are not just fast, but elegant, speed without chaos. 3 different origins, 1 shared conviction. The PC can become a real-time 3D machine if someone builds a chip designed from the ground up for it. They incorporate NVIDIA in 1993. They pick a green logo and an even bolder strategy: fabless manufacturing. Design here, manufacture with world-class foundries elsewhere, so the company can run faster than its headcount. The first attempts are scrappy. Their early product, a multimedia chip that tries to do everything, tries to do too much. It's a swing, not a home run. But the founders make their first defining choice: admit what didn't work, turn hard toward standards, and double down on the part that matters most: 3D acceleration. RIVA 128 arrives with one clear purpose: draw 3D scenes fast and correctly. It speaks the languages developers are adopting: OpenGL, Direct 3D. It proves the bet: when you specialize the silicon, the screen comes alive. The company grows, but the founders are already looking at the next wall to break. In 1999, they name a new chip the GeForce 256, and, with it, coin a term: GPU, Graphics Processing Unit. The idea is audacious. Move not only pixel pushing but real 3D math, transform, and lighting onto the chip. Games leap from flat to cinematic. Workstations start to envy home PCs. The GPU becomes a platform, not a peripheral. Competition is fierce. Another giant of 90s graphics, 3DFX, battles for the same customers. NVIDIA chooses another defining strategy: an almost ruthless cycle time. Ship, learn, iterate, and ship again, like a heartbeat. The company acquires technology, hires talent, and folds lessons into the next architecture. The founders keep raising the bar: more pipelines, smarter shaders, better drivers, developer tools that make the silicon feel friendly. Then comes the second act twist. Around 2006, a new thought emerges. What if the GPU, built to run thousands of simple operations in parallel, is not just for pictures? What if those parallel engines can accelerate science, finance, AI? The company launches CUDA, software that lets ordinary programmers aim general-purpose code at the GPU. It's a radical opening move. Turn a graphics chip into an accelerated computing platform. For a while, it feels niche, clever, but specialized. And then, out of research labs, a wave hits: deep learning. Neural networks love parallel math. The GPU, born for 3D, becomes a rocket engine for AI. Clusters of GPUs start training models that recognize images, translate languages, and learn complex strategies. Startups and researchers flood in. Data centers reconfigure around acceleration. A hardware company becomes, almost overnight, an ecosystem: chips, systems, software, and a global developer community. The founder's late-night diner drawing starts to look less like a napkin and more like a map. Through it all, their roles evolve. Jensen stays at the helm: black leather jacket, direct language, a storyteller who can talk to engineers and opcodes and to investors and outcomes. He is relentless about focus. Pick the hardest problems the world will pay for and build the stack to solve them. Chris Malachowsky becomes the company's conscience of engineering rigor, an NVIDIA fellow, a board voice, and a mentor who pairs ambition with the "does it really work" discipline of his Workstation roots. Outside the company, he supports the next generation, backing major academic programs in data science and AI, and helping stand up the talent pipelines that feed the industry. Curtis Priem, after years as chief technical officer and lead architect, transitions out of day-to-day operations in the 2000s. He directs his energy to philanthropy and education, bringing an engineer's eye for leverage to institutions where one lab or one building can multiply into thousands of careers. His signature remains in the DNA of the company's early architectures and in the idea that elegance in design compounds for decades. The company's story continues through architectures with mythic names and ambitions to match: Fermi, Kepler, Maxwell, Pascal, Volta, Turing, Ampere, Hopper, and beyond, each one an argument for more compute, better memory, smarter software. But the founder's story is simpler: an immigrant's grit, a workstation engineer's discipline, and an architect's insistence on clean design, braided together over coffee and deadlines to create a new layer of the world's infrastructure. How did they get rich? Not by chasing fads, but by betting on platform shifts before the market had words for them. By building a stack: hardware, software, tools, community, that made it easier for others to build on top. And by making a chip that turned out to be good at the next big thing, not just the current one. The diner is still there, the story goes. A placemat becomes a legend. And 3 lives: Jensen Huang, Chris Malachowsky, Curtis Priem, become the hinge on which a whole era of computing swings open. If you want to understand modern wealth creation, study that hinge. It wasn't one perfect product. It was a habit. Find the bottleneck, specialize the silicon, hand the world a faster way to think. Fade out on lab lights spilling across a green-tinted circuit board, fans spooling up, a screen flickering to life, and somewhere, on a whiteboard, another napkin sketch taking shape.